Hey, good Wednesday morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here with the MLive morning weather update. I started off snowstorm question mark. You know, I always catch flack if you get 4 or 5 inches. That's not a snowstorm. I remember back in 1978 when we couldn't move for 3 weeks. Well, it's definitely not that kind of snowstorm, obviously. But what I'm telling my family and friends is this is the type of snow that an average winter in southern Michigan, if there is such a thing, would get about 3 times a year. It's a good solid 4 to 6 inch snow. There's going to be some spots that get 7 or 8. There might be a spot in the far southeast part of the thumb that gets 9, and some areas get a little bit less than 4 inches. So let's get on to it, and then I'll let you decide if you take the question mark off the snowstorm or not. I don't really care. All I'm going to do is going to give you the forecast and tell you how much snow, and I'm also going to tell you that there's a second snowstorm on the way. Second one I would consider a snowstorm for some, like Ann Arbor and Detroit. I'll show you that in a second here. So, radar. The storm is developing. The snow will be kind of slow to develop. I would say the second half of the afternoon is when it really blossoms across most of lower Michigan. The southwest part gets it maybe a little earlier. Traverse City too. By the way, we've talked a lot about snow for the southern half of lower Michigan, but the northern half kind of has had an extension of an inch or 2 extra of snow, and as a result, a winter weather advisory goes all the way to the Mackinac Bridge. And then the pink you see in the thumb, northeast shoreline, is a winter storm warning. That's because of a northeast wind for a few hours, and a little bit of lake enhancement boosts you to above the 6-inch criteria for a winter storm warning. Winter weather advisory, usually a 3 to 6 inch type criteria. And you see that odd little purple color down by Toledo? That's actually an ice storm warning. That's the area where the ice is expected to probably pile up about, let's say, a 1/4 inch or more. All right, so here's the radar forecast, and you know what? It's really a pretty easy story now. There have been no quirks overnight, so this is a snow that develops in the afternoon, a snow that is heaviest in the evening and early overnight hours through about 2 to 4 a.m., and then winds down by about 5 a.m. in the eastern part of the state. So the snow will end 3 a.m. in the west to 5 a.m. in the east. Transition to a little bit of nasty lake effect for northwest lower Michigan on Thursday, but most of us will be dry on Thursday. And so the real common sense thing is if you can travel this morning or early afternoon before it starts snowing, you're safe. And if you can wait until, say, Thursday afternoon, you'll probably be on the safe side, although it turns colder. And then, like I said, we look at the second snow system on the way. So here's the easy, simple scenario. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. Radar forecast. Model that usually works quite well at this time period. And thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. We do this every morning if you're just catching it for the first time, because it's the first actual snow in southern Michigan, widespread. So this is one this afternoon. This model might be running a little slow, but we'll use 1 o'clock, okay? Here's 2 o'clock, 3, and 4. So by the second half of the afternoon, this is actually 5 o'clock, by the second half of the afternoon, it's snowing light to moderate everywhere, and that pink that you see in the southeast part of the state, that could be a mix of snow and freezing rain. Everything's backed off a little bit on the freezing rain, so it's looking like it's mostly snow. If it does the freezing rain idea, it's for a couple of hours. This is 6 o'clock this evening, 7, 8, 9, 10. What we are picking up on is there's what we call a jet streak that will enhance the snow about midnight. So this is the midnight radar forecast, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And that's when the southeast, if you've been kind of slow to accumulate the snow. Southeast for a couple of hours in the middle of the night could get fairly heavy snow and stack up a few inches, and you'll see that on the model output of the total snowfall. But what you get out of this is 2 a.m. You've got a few hours left in the east, and it's winding down and breaking up in Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo and Lansing, and about to end in Jackson and Muskegon, and then translate to some lake effect snow. So this is that same model. We get a new run all the time. That's why we like it. So this is that high resolution rapid refresh model. Usually does the best in this situation because it can pick out little areas of heavier snow and it can pick out little areas of lighter snow. Like you see that little 3-inch streak, Kalamazoo. That may or may not happen, but if you wind up under 4 inches, that this model would show that. And then you see the 6-7 inch amounts. This model has Ann Arbor and Oakland County in the heart of a 6-7 inch snow, and then as you head in the eastern part of the thumb, it picks it up a little bit. So Detroit in this kind of regime would be 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches on the north side. Ann Arbor would be 5 to 6. Flint would be 6 to 7. Saginaw would be 4 to 5. Grand Rapids would be 4-ish, maybe tapering to 3 to the north and 5 to the south, and Kalamazoo, Lansing, and Jackson will be 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. And also note that Traverse City and all of northern lower Michigan would be 3 to 5, and the northeast shoreline, Alpena to Oscoda, great little undiscovered area of Michigan. I won't tell anybody, it's a secret if you live there, but you're probably 4 to 6 inches of snow. Matthew Myers, flight coming into Grand Rapids tonight at 10 p.m. What's your thoughts? I've been doing this with a lot of family and friends that are taking flights. It's hard to forecast the weather. It's impossible for me to forecast what airlines do. They'll be in snow. They'll be in steady, moderate snow in Grand Rapids at that time. What do the airlines do? I don't know. Hey, let's also grab, like I told you, this is the high resolution rapid refresh, so it's always coming in. Let's grab the very latest. We don't have it that far out. Let's grab, so we only get this one out 18 hours. And it's similar. It's shifted, a little bit north, a little less in Detroit, but we're close, and folks really focus on, well, it moved 10 miles, you're way off. Not really in the grand scheme of things. All right, so that's storm number 1. Over tomorrow morning, lake effect. Want safe travels Friday. There's Friday, dry. Here's storm number 2. I'm going to call it a 2-part storm. Friday into Sunday, interesting storm. So the first part comes at us Friday night, Saturday morning, and then notice the southern stream gets its act together and really strengthens into an actual full-fledged wind-driven snowstorm. This is Saturday night. This is early Sunday morning. It's a little farther to the south and east. The center of the storm, if it tracks into central Ohio, would put Detroit and Ann Arbor on the very northern edge of a heavy snow band. And you'll also notice from this frame, there's a lot of these black circular lines around Michigan, lower Michigan. That's the wind pattern cranking up. So that's a northeast wind at 15 to 30 miles an hour with 20-degree snow. That's a nasty day, whether you're getting a lot of snow or not. This is midday Sunday. It's snowing sporadically, lightly across the state, and it's blowing around. Sunday will be a sneaky day where it may not, quote unquote, be termed a snowstorm by the regular media and regular forecasters, but it could be nasty out on the roads. Probably will be. And this is Sunday night, and Monday stays breezy and cold as Arctic air piles in. A little bit quieter next week, and then I've told you we've got a series of 3 storm systems, and by the following weekend there could be another storm system. When do we see a break and act like late winter? I think it comes in the last days of February, February 25th, 6th, 7th. We see in this case the freezing line heading toward us about the 26th. All right, so now let's decipher the two storms. I showed you the in-depth, highly detailed snow for this one coming up. Let's try to get the Saturday, Sunday feel for what it is. And here you go. This is a 24-hour snowfall forecast from Friday night to Saturday night. And it's a 2 to 4 inch snow on piece number 1. But then remember, I'm calling this a 2-piece storm where it picks up in the southeast on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And that could be a 6-inch snow in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Monroe, and blowing around. And it's configured such that it's a type of storm that I would watch. If it sneaks northward, it changes to a 6 to 9 inch really wind-driven snow and comes maybe kind of close to near blizzard conditions. We're going to be cold. Highs today in the 20s. Tomorrow, low to mid 20s. Friday, colder. Highs in the teens to near 20. Saturday, up a touch, maybe cracking the freezing mark, southern half. And then Sunday is windy and cold, falling temperatures into an Arctic blast for 2 or 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, highs only in the single digits and teens. That means we go below 0 in the morning, 10 to 15 below if it wind dies off. Thursday's cold, Friday is cold. And like I said, when do we start to see the chance of 32, 35, which would be about normal by the end of February? We're going to have to wait about 10 days. We're going to have to wait until toward the end of February for that. So yes, my friends, we have a February that on tap that is going to be very, very wintry. We'll keep you updated. Remember, the common sense thing is it's going to take a little while for the snow to develop today. So if you got something you want to do, want to drive, don't want snow on the roads, then do it now through early afternoon. If you don't care because you got a Tahoe or a Yukon or whatever, do what you want to do. Avoid the travel tonight because that'll be when it's worst. And tomorrow, don't get on it real early. If you said, boy, I want to get going south or something like that. 4 or 5 a.m., still probably pretty icy and snowy. If you can wait until late morning, the road crews probably will have pretty good handle on that. Then we start watching storm number 2, so you'll see me all weekend. I'll keep you updated, and in my mind, that storm actually has the chance to change more than this one. And in my mind, it has a chance to inch back to the north and really change the idea for Ann Arbor and Detroit and Monroe, maybe a little bit farther to northwest of that, into a full-fledged, wind-driven, wow, this is worse than the first storm system type storm. There you go. That's the MLive morning weather update. Is this your first time joining us? Do you ever get a weather update like this for the cost of nothing? Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrosa. You take care.